Welcome to everybody who is on the Facebook, the American Mammal on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, and if you're not on the American Mammal, or if you're not currently watching us on the American Mammal, go ahead and find the American Mammal on Facebook. Also, look us up on YouTube. Welcome to all of you YouTubers. Go ahead and look up the American Mammal and like us and follow us on the Facebook page and the group, because I'm not really sure where the videos always go. As well as our YouTube channel, because there is actually additional content on the YouTube that doesn't always go other places, if you catch my drift. Yeah, so look us up in those places. Follow us on Twitch. Watch us wherever you watch. Keep watching. But follow us everywhere because, well, you know. And yeah, I'm getting ready to travel. So I'm trying to get all my crap, all my gear, all my everything else together. But before we talk about that, because obviously I got 3 hours, 45 minutes to talk about stuff. Let's look at the workout for today. And today we've got something called Basecamp Climbing Sweetspot with FTP Surges. It looks like after, I don't know where my cursor is, there we go. After we do our warm-up, short warm-up and 3 fast pedals, we got 45 minutes of easy riding, and then we got, gosh, a good chunk of time here where we're alternating between, wow, look at that, 205 watts, and then each of these white things, like after each one of these, or maybe before, I don't know, there will be a surge above FTP, and then we'll have 5 minutes at 100 watts in between, 5 minutes at 125 watts, and then afterwards 7 minutes at 125 watts before going back into some steady state endurance work. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be good. It's going to be, so let's go. And I'm going to ride in the volcano circuit because I've been told that even though it's long or short and it's boring and it's, you know, whatever, that you get some more, I don't know, stuff for... the heck is that? Interesting. Easy spin warm up. Let's go. Let's get this going. Let's get this show on the road. And I'm doing a workout, so the climb feature ain't gonna work. Like I said, I don't know if my backside is going to survive for 4 hours on a trainer. A couple months ago, maybe a month, I don't know. A while ago, I took my rocker plate out from underneath my trainer. Man, my legs are already feeling it. I haven't even started yet. I took the rocker plate out from under my trainer because, well, it makes a lot of noise, number one. It raises me, I got pretty low ceilings, and it raises me to a point where I'm pretty close to the overhead fan here in this room in my current pain cave. And And I wanted to see if there was really a difference in the riding and my effort in, you know, all that stuff. So, I did. I made a change. I took it away. It's actually sitting out there in the hallway as we speak. And while I don't really notice a difference in the rideability overall, I definitely notice, I feel a difference on longer rides in the saddle region. Just without the bike, without the trainer moving, there is a little bit greater interaction in the saddle than when the bike kind of rocks. So I honestly think that's, well, if you're doing longer rides, that's reason enough to have a rocker plate. Other than that, I don't know that there's value, certainly not in the, I don't know how much it cost, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, the one that I bought. But I also wouldn't necessarily, yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say they're a bad idea. If you're only doing 1 hour workouts, which is what I used to do, it's not that big of a deal. But these longer 3+ hour rides, even where you're not working all that much in terms of effort, yeah, I'm going to be putting the rocker plate back under my bike. So, got a minute left of this little bit of a warm-up. Then I got my 3 fast pedals. And then we get into the same 145 watts. But it should feel easier once I get these fast pedals in me. Once I wake my body up a little bit. All right, 10 seconds until the first fast pedal. And a slow pedal. Whew. Yeah, last night's workout, I don't know if you watched the video or not, but it was a tremendous amount of effort. And I won't say it was painful, but man, it was a struggle, that's for sure. It was fun. I like those workouts. All right, one more of these, and then we settle into 45 minutes. Not quite awake yet, my legs aren't. But they'll come to me. MG from Team SVA says, ride on. Ride on, ride on, ride on. All right, now we're coming into 45 minutes at endurance. It's a low end endurance, 145 watts. I may actually back it off a little bit for the first few minutes until I get my legs under me. I'll tell you in a minute. Yeah, that's probably good. The way it is. So you saw me mix up that bottle of Martin drink. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, why are you mixing that up for an endurance ride? Well, number one, I do have, in 45 minutes, got those intervals coming up, which are going to be a little challenging. But even without that, a basically 4-hour ride is going to require quite a bit of sustained energy. And so I'm going to need it, is what I'm saying. And so my plan is that every 15 minutes, starting at 15 minutes, I will take a swig off that Martin. This is the 320 calorie pack with caffeine. So I got some I'll have some calories in me that my body can burn off, and some caffeine in me that'll make my legs not hurt so bad, or the perception of my legs. So yeah, my sinuses with this dry air, I'm suffering a bit. Makes sense to pedal harder or faster. I mean, can't pedal harder. I'm on the erg mode. It does remind me that I should turn my Nox Gear 39G on and turn some tunage on. Because I'm going to need all the distractions I can possibly get. Assuming I'm going to last 3 hours and 45 minutes. I'll tell you right now, what's going through my head is, man, 4 hours is a long time to spend on the bike anyhow, which I'm voicing. But I got a lot of stuff that I have to accomplish before I travel tomorrow. Not the least of which is to confirm some of our travel plans and all that. So, yeah. And with my butt being sore from Wednesday, my legs being tired from all week, but from yesterday, and my mind just currently not being focused, I think that these intervals will be a good distraction at the very least. They're 4 times 330 by 30, and it's 205 to, I think that says 230. I can't really, I think it says 230. So yeah, it would be a good distraction nonetheless. I did not drink in 15 minutes. Remember how I was saying I'm distracted? D-Zag, thanks for watching the video and giving me a ride on. I'm starting to warm up physically, if that's any indication. E. Schwartz is watching the videos and says, right on. So thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. So, today's topic of discussion, I've talked about these before. I wear a continuous glucose monitor, which I don't know if you can see that very well right here. This little white dot that's on my arm. I have tried several over the last, well, a little over a year. One of them is this one here, NutriSense. You can see this is actually a sealed box because I have not opened it yet. But it's actually really easy to tear the seal, which I find that kind of interesting, just with my fingernail. So yeah, this one is by NutriSense. And the reason I'm talking about them today is that a year ago, back in beginning of January, as part of my Basecamp training and the nutrition program that they have as part of that, and I started paying attention to what I was eating and how it was affecting me, and I wanted to have some deeper insights because, well, you just can't always tell, right? And so I actually, of course, first, I tried to go to Super Sapiens because you know, they're the ones that the teams are using, the pro teams. They're the ones that have, you know, a very specific focus on athletes. And specifically on cycling, but as well as like triathletes and other sports, right? And the sensor that they use is a radio, Bluetooth radio, or I don't know which, probably Bluetooth. And because of their tie to pro athletes, they actually send the signal to your head unit. And so you can see in real time, not only when you tap it, but in real time, you can see the readings. And so literally as you're riding, you can watch as your glucose number is going up and it starts to decline. And so you can put actual data with actual feel while you're working out and have cues as to when you need to add some more fuel, right? So that you can feel the minute physiological changes before they become gross physiological changes in your body. You can become in tune with what the minor changes feel like, and therefore fuel at a more consistent and really proper time interval based on what your body is telling you. Go says, right on, hey, I appreciate you watching our live stream, and I hope that you tell all your friends about the American Mammal. That's right, I'm Dave. I am the middle-aged man in Lycra here in the Americas. So anyhow, I was looking at Super Sapiens because of all the advantages that they have. But they do not have approval in the US. Specifically, the drug company that makes these, it's the same sensor as the one I'm wearing from NutriSense. It's the same sensor, but it has a Bluetooth radio instead of an NFC radio. And so, for whatever reason, the FDA has delayed approval for that device here in the US. Well, because they don't want your critical medical information to be able to be hacked. Of course, it can go into a government database, which is regularly hacked, and you have no recourse over. But they're concerned about somebody seeing what your glucose levels are. But I'm not here to complain about large, overbearing government. At least not today. Or at least not right now, today. But for all you truckers up there in Canada, honk honk. So I couldn't get the Super Sapiens one. So I started looking at alternatives. And one of the alternatives that I found was NutriSense. And I looked at them. There were a couple others that, to be honest with you, I used a couple others for 1 or 2 months each, and I don't even remember the names of them. But I was comparing them against the NutriSense and my expectations of Super Sapiens. However, one of the first things that I noticed, so I signed up for NutriSense because they were marketing specifically to athletes and talking about athletic performance and all of this. And when I signed up with the assumption that if they're marketing to athletes, number one, they know what they're talking about. But they know that as athletes, or as budding athletes, or wannabe athletes, or whatever you want to call us, that we probably have a nutritionist, or at least someone like me through Basecamp has access to one, somebody that's reviewing our data. And because of that, we're putting our data somewhere, our consumption data somewhere. Specifically for me, and I think most people, into MyFitnessPal. You know, the largest player in the game. So I've got to put it into MFP so that my nutritionist can review it and make recommendations. Also, my workouts, which, like in the winter, are on ZWIFT, and ZWIFT will send them to literally anyone in the world who wants them. They go into MyFitnessPal, Map My Ride, Map My Fitness, Map My Run, you know, any of those apps. They go into Strava, they go into Garmin, they go directly into Training Peaks. I mean, literally anywhere that wants your cycling data, ZWIFT is willing to send it to them. So since they're marketing NutriSense, or were, and I just saw today they still are, to athletes, you would think they would understand that we record a whole ton of data about our workouts, and that it's already available in a database somewhere. We probably record our weight at regular intervals, as well as a bunch of other metrics, right? So I get my first box of NutriSense, and after you sign up, you get this huge, long explanation that basically that the contract that you signed is auto-renewing and it's binding, and if you cancel early, you're going to face like this huge penalty, right? Well, I'm like, well, that's all right. I'm serious about this. I want to follow my data. I want to learn how to fuel appropriately, but also on a more generalized level, I want to learn how to eat better, right, for my health. I'm not on a low-carb diet, although I do try to avoid refined sugars and processed foods for that matter. But obviously I can't always do that. I mean, all the crap we eat on the bike is artificially processed crap, right? So we've got all this data. You would think that a company marketing to athletes or people who want to be athletically inclined or are just generally fitness oriented already have their data in places. And so you'd want to make the process as accurate and as streamlined as possible. So go to MyFitnessPal, go to Strava or to Training Peaks and share data with them. Anyhow, I get this letter from them that explains that if I cancel my 12-month contract early, I signed up for a 12-month contract because, again, I'm going to take this seriously, right? The first thing they want to tell you is if you cancel, you're going to get all kinds of fines. That was kind of a red flag early on. Like the first communication you get from them is, if you cancel, we're going to fine you. You got to pay, you know, a cancellation fee plus the difference between what you paid and like the single use, whatever, right? So obviously they've had cancellations before. They've obviously probably been to court before, and their attorneys wrote an ironclad, here, use this every time. That way people can't come back to you thing, right? By the way, they mail you the sensors every month. So it's not like they're buying them. You know, you sign up for a year and they're going to buy 12 months worth. And you have to sit on them if you cancel. But nonetheless, red flag when they're more focused on their legally binding agreement than they are on the performance of their software or their service overall. So I installed it the first time, and I have to tell you, putting a CGM on for the first time is a little daunting. The tool that you use, if you look back at older videos, you'll see a couple times I've put them on. It's like a big deal, and you have to put the two pieces together and then you clip it onto your arm and like you don't feel it at all. It doesn't hurt. It's not sore. It doesn't even feel like anything's going into you, right? But I put it on, I set it up. Well, they require you to enter your food data in this app. No integration with MyFitnessPal. Okay, so for 3 months, I'm entering it in MyFitnessPal so my nutritionist can see it, and I can get advice as she's looking at my intake and my output every single day, what my workouts are. She's also looking at what's coming up in my training plan and in my event schedule. And she can make recommendations on fueling changes or whatever, right? But, all right, I want to see what this is worth, so I enter it twice. Well, the MyFitnessPal, no matter what you're eating, it's in their database. In the NutriSense one, it's not. It has been getting slightly better over the last 12 months, but you're still manually entering the macros for pretty much everything you eat. Then, obviously, your physical activity, your workouts, are pretty important in tracking your glucose levels, especially with a system like this, where they're looking at your 24-hour data and they're trying to extrapolate why your numbers are moving up or moving down, and by what percentage, and how quickly or rapidly, and how your body's responding, all that, right? So you'd think that they would have at least done a lot of work to integrate with something like Training Peaks, or again, the world's largest fitness app, Strava, or any other tool. Well, their answer is, after, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, well, we have integration with Google Fitness, or whatever the Google Fitness app is called. The not Fitbit, but the little Google thing in Android. Well, all it does, well, it works on and off. About 20% of the time, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe 15%, it actually records your steps. None of the other activity that's actually in Google Fitness or Google Fit, whatever it's called, because it gets data from Garmin, which gets data from, well, in this case, ZWIFT. It has my heart rate, it has my distance, it has my calories burned, it has my cadence, my speed, my power. It's got all that data, right? Well, NutriSense doesn't take any of that data. They don't use any of that data. So if you want to enter your, they call them activities, you got to manually enter it. But what's worse than that is that when you manually enter it, because I did, there's nowhere for you to actually put the amount of work. It's only the length of time. You can't put how many calories you burned, which is an indication of how hard you worked, right? Of what the intensity level was over that period of time. Doesn't exist in the app. So, after using it and manually entering all this data for 90 days and tracking it and getting one, there might have actually been 2 messages on their little messaging app asking if I had any questions and letting me know that they had nutritionists that were available to look at your data and offer some advice if you wanted to upgrade to that. So if you want to pay extra, we'll have somebody look at your data that you're already paying for. It's not cheap. I don't remember what I was paying. A couple $100s a month. But so I had those couple communications. And after 90 days of using it, a solid 90 days. So I used 6 of their devices, right? I signed up for a year. I've used it for 3 months. I send them an email with just my thoughts and some suggestions. Not an email, but a message to this person who had responded to me, throughout the whole process. And I basically said, look, your app is great, but you're marketing it to athletes. As athletes, we have coaches. We have nutritionists. We have, very specific focus on our sport and our performance and our fueling as it relates to that. And obviously, as an endurance athlete specifically, glucose comes into a huge play in that battle. You should, get my workout data from somewhere like Training Peaks or Strava or Garmin, or even from Google Fit, because they get most of that data, right? Not all of it, but most of it. They get some of the important stuff, but not all of it. Secondly, because we're athletes and you're marketing to us and you want us to keep paying for your service, you should send the glucose data that you're taking out of our bodies to Training Peaks, so that if nobody else, at least our coaches and probably our nutritionists can look at the data specifically during the course of a workout and see what's going on with our body physiologically, how we're burning calories and how we're refueling, so that they can help us learn how to better fuel for our races and events. And secondly, since almost everyone in the world has MyFitnessPal, why not still let me enter it manually in your system if I wanna? But why not let those of us who are using MyFitnessPal automatically send data to you? The MyFitnessPal API, so that they can integrate with sources like this, is wide open. It's really easy to work with. It's not a lot of development resources or a lot of effort or anything else to make it more user-friendly. And then thirdly, go back to Google Fit and share data both ways, all of it, not just some of it. Don't just look at my steps, because that's not what athletes are focused on. But feed it in there, because then Google Fit ties into Google Health, and then even our doctors could have access to it, right? Well, their response was, oh, thank you very much for your insights. We really appreciate this. This is a quote. Many of the things that you have mentioned, we are already working on and will be released soon. And they said, but either way, my advice to you is just hang on and wait. So keep paying us $200 and some a month. And at some point, we'll get you that functionality that makes our service worthwhile. That brings our service at least part of the way up to par with something like Super Sapiens. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've completed my 12 months. And as I said, in those 12 months, I have actually tried competing products. And I will tell you that now, 10 months since I sent that first email, none of those integrations exist. In fact, not much at all has changed about the app. They have partnered with one of those food databases, so they have access to a little bit more of the food info as you're entering it, but you're still manually entering most of the macros on almost everything that you eat. So more than a month, or about a month, more than a month before my contract expired, I sent them an email and said, look, I've used your service for a year. At the end of my contract, do not renew it. Cancel my service. This is, your official notification, as required in the contract that you were so specific on making sure that I received after I signed up for your service. So, they responded very nicely, thanked me for using the service, letting me know that the app will continue to run and that I continue to use any of the CGMs indefinitely, that I'll have access to my data and I can use all the ones that I still have, right? And that any time, if I wanted to, do a one-off, get more, I could. And they even recommended, which is a great sales marketing deal, that I could do sign up for their new one sensor every quarter kind of a deal, right? Pretty smart thing they're doing there. So I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. We're canceled. It's all good. And obviously I'm still using it. And I get a message after 10 months. I get a message from that nutritionist who I was messaging with and who I told 10 months before that what they need to do to make their app more user-friendly and really make it a no-brainer for people to pay for. And in between there, they sent me a deal asking me to take a survey on what I thought of their service. And one of the things that I dinged them on was their ongoing nutritional support. She was nice and friendly and all, but she literally never told me anything. Part of it's not her fault. She didn't have access to my exercise data, so she didn't know what was really going on in my body. She's just looking at the results, not on the cause. And so she's making determinations, and there was a big spike here. It's probably because of this. You need to change what you're eating. And I'm like, well, no, that wasn't it. It was a big workout. So, in the meantime, there's a couple companies now that are marketing the Dexcom sensor, which is a Bluetooth radio that lets you get readings in real time. And again, marketed ostensibly towards triathletes and other endurance athletes, right? So this morning, and by the way, I just put this new sensor in 4 or 5 days ago. I'm still using it. I've got 4 more, so 2 months worth of sensors in boxes unopened. On Facebook, a nutritionist posted something about how great NutriSense is, how she's been using it for a couple months, and you know, the insights that it's giving her, and blah blah blah, and you know that she highly recommends it. Well, it was a sponsored ad. I didn't know if it was a sponsored ad from Nutrisystems. If it is, it's deceptive because it does not say that, NutriSense. But some people were asking questions on the ad, and I simply typed, before you decide on NutriSense or any CGM for your insights into your training and your nutrition, make sure that you thoroughly investigate the companies, the benefits, and be concerned about a company that puts more emphasis on your inability to cancel an agreement than they do on the quality of their service. That's all it said. It was like 2 sentences. Maybe only 1 sentence, one long run-on sentence. So that was at like 6:30 this morning. At 9 o'clock this morning, I go to retest, you know, my CGM to my phone. Oh, my account's been canceled. All data deleted. So, obviously, that ad is from NutriSense. It's a deceptive ad because nowhere does it say that it's sponsored. It's just this nutritionist who's talking about this third-party app that she found that does great things. And all I did was make a comment. I didn't say it was a bad service. I didn't say how much it sucked. Because there are benefits to it. If there's nothing else out there, there's benefits to it. But they, nonetheless, they saw my comment and canceled my service. So, long story short, if you're looking at using a CGM to analyze your data, NutriSense will not give you, if you're an endurance athlete, will not give you the information that you're looking for. It's not easy to interact with, especially if you're tracking your performance on a bike or running or swimming or whatever you're doing. There are definitely better options out there. I would recommend, I haven't thoroughly vetted them yet, but I would look at one of these companies that's using the Dexcom Bluetooth sensor, because even if you can't pick it up on your head unit, having the information real time in your phone will make it more accurate. Because this one, it only actually reads it when you tap it, but it stores the data for up to 8 hours in between. But it doesn't store the specifics, it generalizes it, you know, to save space, right? And so if it's sending it out in real time and your phone's picking it up, you see accurate numbers, not estimates over, you know, whatever, 15 or 20 or 30 minutes as it's reading it and storing it. It's giving you real-time updates. So I would recommend looking at one of those. Again, I haven't vetted them. If you live somewhere where you can get super sapiens. That's what the pros use. That's what their coaches tell them to use. That's what their teams say, this is what you need. It's the most scientifically based set of data. So I think it would be safe to say that that would be your best option, but it's not available everywhere yet. So that's my story about CGMs and my warning specifically against NutriSense based on my experience with them. That being said, I absolutely did learn a lot through this last 13 months, almost 14 months of using these. I've gained a lot of insight. I've changed my fueling habits. But as always with everything, it can always get better, right? So I'm looking for the next great thing, and I definitely want to learn how to fuel better during my rides so that I can be more competitive and have more fun, because you feel better as you perform better. Or you perform better because you feel better. However that goes, it's true. So I got 42 seconds until these intervals come up. I'm gonna turn the music back on, and I'm gonna get ready to shut up because I'm gonna be out of breath. So everybody who's watching, welcome to the American Mammal. My name is Dave, and I am the middle-aged man in Lycra. I'm about to enter the Sufferfest. Not the Sufferfest doesn't exist anymore, so I can say that. So here we go. 4 times 30 by 330 by 30s. 3 of those. All right. 85. When I do these, I think that the 330s, the SST work, is the workout. And the 30 seconds at FTP, that's the little break you get. Especially after doing that SST workout yesterday. Come on, Dave, focus on your cadence. Spam.
a lot of work.